that day. Maybe you're going to go to the gym quickly and get in a workout. Maybe you're going to call someone on the phone that you've been meaning to call for a very long time and you haven't done so. So try to focus on one thing that you can do every day that will make you feel like you did accomplish something. It'll make you feel like you're going forward instead of kind of staying stagnant.
And this can help put you in a better place mentally during this stressful time?
It certainly does, yeah, because you're almost giving yourself permission to say, okay, now I can unwind and spend time with family and be in less of a stressed position because I've already accomplished something here, so I'm going to enjoy myself. I'm going to focus on the present. I'm going to be mindful of this moment.
I know some of us are just saying, let's just get to January. Let's just get through this. I understand that's part of it.
That's when the credit card bill comes. That's the problem.
Right. Just don't open the mail. Are you seeing more momentum when it comes to people actually addressing their own mental health?
I'll be honest, not as much as I would like to. Definitely people are more aware than ever of mental health challenges. You know, in this day and age, people are more educated about mental health problems than they ever have been in the past. But really, I think that because we're under so much stress and there's so little time for everything, I think people don't have a minute to stop and unwind and take stock of how they're really doing psychologically. And I think that's something that we as a society need to do a better job of. But we are so work and ambition focused that we kind of lose sight of it sometimes.
And the pressure to be happy during the holidays too at the same time. I get the impression that when we talk about mental health, protecting mental health, a lot of people will give lip service to it and say, but not me, of course, I'm fine, and I don't have time for that. Is that part of what's going on when you say it's not as much as you'd like it to be as far as addressing this issue?
Absolutely, and I think that we're in a better place than we ever have been in terms of viewing mental health as being sort of like a medical condition, just like it is, meaning if a person is suffering from depression, you see it as a medical condition that can be treated and dealt with and taken as seriously as a medical condition like diabetes, for example. But at the end of the day, it still is seen by much of society, despite all of our work, it still is seen by a lot of society as almost a weakness, which is why people put up this front. We have this default of saying, nope, I'm fine, everything is going okay. So there's still obviously a lot of work to be done in terms of people seeing it as not being a weakness, seeing it as being a medical condition that requires treatment the same as anything else.
All right, it sounds like there's progress being made, but we're not done yet. Dr. Raphael Wald, thank you for going on the record with us today.
Thank you.
Good to see you. Next, one of the treatments now being used and how it works.
The legal system can be a maze. We know how to navigate our way through it. Don't get lost in the maze. If you've been wronged, we're ready to fight to get you the money and justice you deserve.
Sign and drive with 0 down, 0 due at signing, and 0 first payment on select Volvo SUVs during the Holiday Safely sales event.
COPD is harder on the folks around you, I think. It affects my wife terribly. And she smoked, and she quit. And if you ask her why she quit, she'll say because she needs to be here to take care of me. So, sorry.
Tobacco Free Florida offers free nicotine replacement therapy to help start your quit journey. Call 1-877-YOU-CAN now.
This is Kathy. She's about to see her dentist. She's afraid. Not because of the drill, but because of the bill. A big bill. But Kathy doesn't need to be afraid, and neither do you, thanks to affordable dental insurance from Physicians Mutual Insurance Company. It's easy to get this coverage. Don't believe me? Call or go online for all the details. You could even have this free information kit. This isn't a discount plan or preventive-only coverage. This is real dental insurance. It helps pay for over 400 procedures. That's a lot. I'm talking cleanings, fillings, crowns, bridges, root canals, even dentures. Bottom line, you'll have help paying for routine care and expensive major work. But if you want deductibles, forget it. There aren't any. No annual maximum either. Plus, you can see any dentist you want. Stop fearing the big bill. Start saving at the dentist. Call now or go to sendinfokit.com.
Physicians Mutual, Physicians Mutual. No victim is ever prepared for a life-altering accident. At Cersei Denny, we are prepared. We have attorneys who deliver personalized care and decades of experience taking on tough cases and winning. Helping you is what we do.
You're watching On the Record on WPBF 25.
Joining me now is Dr. Rachel Rahidi, neuropsychiatrist at the Miami Neuroscience Institute. Doctor, thanks so much for doing this with me today.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
We just talked in the last segment about there was a time, and not that long ago, that mental health wasn't something you even brought up. But now, when you look at it, it seems as if there is some momentum, and the treatments are something we at least talk about. How has that become more mainstream, and how long has it been, really?
So I think I chalk it up to COVID, to 2020, when, we all had these new platforms popping up, trying to stay connected with each other. And I think that that's when it happened. It gave everyone a platform and a voice to be able to talk about things that were important to them. And mental health, of course, came up, and it's gained momentum, and it's kind of taken, shape on its own.
You are so right. I'm thinking about this. It's almost 5 years now. Before that, nobody talked in general with their friends about how's your mental health. That was not
Right.
something that we did at all.
No, at all. It's something that was kind of hushed and in secret. But now it's completely mainstream. It's a topic of dinner conversation sometimes. I think it's pretty phenomenal. But there's still a little bit of that stigma still there.
Of course, and that brings up my next question, which is, how do you reinforce to someone one-on-one how important their own mental health is and focusing on it? That is another step, right?
Absolutely. It's really hard to get people to care about themselves first. We're always taught to be cognizant or aware of other people's feelings, and, especially if you have children, if you have a spouse or a loved one in your life. But really, the key is taking care of yourself. If you can't take care of yourself, how can you take care of others?
Let's talk about taking care of others. What about the mental well-being of our children? Are you seeing an increase in the diagnosis of depression or other mental health issues in children compared to a few years ago?
Absolutely, we are, especially after a lot of those children had to do online schooling, and they were isolated from their friends. A lot of them had to do all of this kind of new platforms on the computers, and parents were stressed and home and trying to help the children. And it kind of got messy there for a while. So absolutely, we're not animals that live isolated. We are kind of pack animals, and we have our groups, and we have our loved ones and our friends and people that we share things with. And that shutdown, I think, really brought on a lot of stress for a lot of kids.
That's what made Zoom calls such a lifeline back then.
Yes.
I want to move on
Yes,
to...
it's a blessing, but also kind of a curse.
It's true. And here we are. I mean,
Yeah.
Zoom was not much of a thing before that.
No.
Let me move on to this innovative treatment Baptist Health uses for depression that involves magnetic pulses. This is fascinating. Can you explain what TMS is?
Absolutely. We haven't had a lot of new innovation in psychiatry for a while. And so TMS is pretty exciting. It is actually a neuromodulation, a procedure that came out probably in the 80s. I think it were on 85. And it's really taken off in momentum here. There's a lot of new research, and it's using a magnetic coil, and it's using that magnet to kind of manipulate the electricity that is already in a person's brain. So it's non-invasive, it's office-based. You don't have to take time off of work. You don't have to take days away from family members. You can drive after the procedure. You don't have to have someone bring you. And it takes, sometimes 20 minutes, 30 to 40 minutes, depending on some of the protocols that are used. And it really helps in patients with severe major depression who have gone through several trials of medications, who have not fared well with the medications, whether it's side effects or whether it's the medications just haven't touched them, haven't done much for them. And it gives a little bit of hope that we can decrease symptoms 50%.
Now, does it change the brain chemistry, and how long does the treatment, how does it take effect, and how long is the effect?
That's a good question. So all of these things we're kind of learning still. It does not change any brain chemistry per se, but what it does is it stimulates the neurons, the brain cells, in a very particular location in the brain to generate and to start kind of working and wake up a little bit. So that's called neurogenesis, right? So the growth of some new connections, and that's what we're hoping with the magnet.
It just sounds fascinating. I have about 30 seconds left. I just want to ask you one more question. That is, one factor, one sign that you would like to stress that people should look out for that tells them it's time to seek some help, some treatment.
Oh, absolutely. The one thing that I think everyone should look for is whether or not this mood is interfering with your ability to work or to spend time with friends. If this depression or sadness or anxiety is getting in the way of you being able to get out of bed, is getting in the way, is stopping you from living, then that's the time that we need to say, maybe I need a little more help.
Dr. Rachel Rohidi, thank you so much for talking with me today.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. Coming up, advice on how to protect your mental health during the holidays.
Watch Yasmin Julmis on WPBF 25 News Mornings. Thank you, South Florida, for making WPBF 25 News the #1 choice for news in the Palm Beaches and Treasure Coast.
The authorities are still working to figure out the motive for this mass shooting.
The most experienced and certified, most accurate weather experts.
The threat for flooding will be elevated.
The most watched, most trusted, always live local news in the morning at noon, 4, 5, 6, 11, and on the weekend. WPBF 25 News. Live, local, late breaking.
There's no place like the road home. Receive a $5,500 bonus on a new 2024 Audi Q5 plug-in hybrid during the Season of Audi sales event.
Teachers inspire and help shape the future of our kids and communities. WPBF 25 wants to recognize an amazing teacher each month. Tell us about a teacher whose commitment has made a huge difference. Go to WPBF.com or scan the QR code now to nominate. Every month, WPBF 25 will surprise a teacher with $1,000 to fund their classroom projects.
WPBF 25 Teacher of the Month, sponsored by KL, the injury attorneys that ring the bell.
Did you ever look at your house and think it just might be time for a change? Well, right now at National Floors Direct, we'll help you change for just $1,088. We'll give you 3 full rooms of carpeting, next day installation, padding, everything, all for just $1,088. 3 rooms, no hidden extras. Now that's the kind of change everyone can afford, and no interest for 1 year. Call National Floors Direct, 888-400-FLOOR. Get 3 rooms of carpeting for just $1,088. We'll bring the store to your door.
I'm Bob Gordon of Gordon & Partners. If you're a veteran, you know the headaches that come from dealing with the VA. We have a dedicated veterans benefits team with extensive knowledge of how the VA works. If you need help with your VA benefits claim, visit fortheinjured.com or call 333-3333 for a free, no-obligation review. You serve your country. Now let us serve you. Gordon & Partners, for the vets.
There's no place like the road home. Receive a $5,500 bonus on a new 2024 Audi Q5 plug-in hybrid during the Season of Audi sales event.
Joining me now is Kathy Murphy, the CEO of the National Alliance of Mental Illness for Palm Beach County. Alliance providing advocacy, education support, and obviously promoting public awareness of this such an important issue. I want to jump right into the holidays again as we finish up because they are, I feel like we're in the middle of them now.
Absolutely.
What triggers do we look for during this time of year when we're trying to protect ourselves or maybe look out for others?
Absolutely. So the holidays can bring up a lot of memories of the past. If we've lost somebody, if we have estranged relationships, sometimes those holiday traditions can bring back those memories. So it's important to remember that we can make new memories, new traditions, and reach out to different people in our lives for that support, and just to be able to enjoy it and not feel a sense of perfectionism. A lot of times on social media, we see ways that we feel like family should be portrayed or that the holiday should be portrayed. So to lighten up on ourselves a little bit and to know that not everything has to be perfect.
It's interesting, when I was preparing the questions for this particular segment, I was thinking about my own sister, who just passed away less than 4 months ago.
I'm sorry.
And I was thinking about, I had not really considered what it will be like during the Christmas holidays when she's not around. So it's something that we have to be prepared for, but also, are there steps that we should take when we're dealing with this? An old memory, a memory of someone who's gone, perhaps an unpleasant memory or a difficult memory as we get into the holidays, because that can really overtake us if we're not careful.
Absolutely. I think we should give ourselves grace to know that that can happen, to anticipate it. It's super common. It happens to so many of us that the holidays do bring up those memories. So just getting ahead of it, being prepared of it, leaving that space to remember them and try to remember those happy memories. And to, again, if a tradition is too painful, maybe you find a new tradition.
And obviously, we're also talking about the possibility of something serious, perhaps triggering a deeper depression in someone. What should we look for as far as, maybe we have some sad feelings during the holidays because we're missing someone or someone's not around, but what are we looking for to make sure we're not getting into a more serious clinical depression?
Absolutely. All of us have those fluctuations. Sadness is normal and common. If we're feeling sadness for 2 weeks or more, if it's impacting our daily life, if it's affecting our work, our relationships, our school, that's something to look out for and to seek help and seek support.
And obviously, because you are in the business, if you will, of making sure people are aware of this, what aren't people aware enough about when it comes to their mental health or depression? What do we need to make sure they know that maybe they don't?
Well, we can maintain our mental health just like we maintain our physical health. So things like sleep, nutrition, exercise, getting sunlight, as those help our bodies, they also help our minds and help to prepare us as we head into these times. With the holiday season, we're exposed to a lot of alcohol, overconsumption, overconsumerism, spending too much money. There are so many different pitfalls, and so to get ahead of those, that can really help. And then to be aware, take that time to pause, reflect. I might be preparing, making a plan, making a budget, and just getting ahead of it, knowing that that can happen.
You just named a lot of possible hurdles to some holiday season happiness for people, obviously. Do you see more need this time of year among the people who you reach out to, who the Alliance reaches out to? Is it more prevalent now, or we've been talking about awareness, and that's primarily what the Alliance does. Are people able to grasp that they might be in the throes of a mental health issue they need to take care of or need to reach out for help?
I do think that awareness has really increased. A lot of people are seeking help, and there is actually a shortage of professionals to serve this need. That's one thing that we face. So something that NAMI offers is peer-led groups and classes where you can reach out to other people who've been through similar things and talk to them about what they're going through.
Is this country, is our society doing enough at this point to address mental health? I'm going to guess the answer is no, but maybe not. But is there a lot more we can do?
There is a lot more we can do, whether that's workplace policies, having an employee assistance program, mental health days, just really having that grace with your employees who are going through something, access to care. A lot of times insurance can be a barrier for individuals. So there is a lot more that we can do policy-wise, and a lot more that we can do to build up our workforce.
I want to, I have about a minute left, to give you a chance to talk about some of the ways that NAMI specifically supports people and their mental health, if you could.
Absolutely. All of our support groups are peer-led, so they're led by individuals who've had these experiences, but also family caregivers. And so we try to meet people where they're at. Everything that we do is offered free of cost. And we also help them to navigate with other community-based resources. So maybe they need a certain type of therapy, a certain type of treatment, they have a certain type of insurance. We can talk to them about that and help to connect them to the best resource.
So good to know that there is a network and there's help out there for people. Is the National Alliance of Mental Illness, on Mental Illness. Catherine Murphy, thanks for going on the record.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so much. We'll be right back.
Steinger, Green, and Finer. Steinger, Green, and Finer won my case, and I got $300,000.
Involved in a car accident? Call Steinger, Green, and Finer. 1-800-561-1111.
Stay connected wherever you are. Download the WPBF 25 News app.
Welcome to Nissan. Are you interested in test drive?
Absolutely. There's the all-new Kicks, the new V6-powered Frontier, and the Nissan Rogue. Consumer Guide's Best Buy 10 years in a row.
Finished with all your holiday shopping?
We are now. Hurry in to the Nissan year-end sales event. Get a low $249 per month lease on Rogue, one of 6 Nissan vehicles with starting MSRP under $30,000.
Jesse Palmer here. Give me 30 seconds and I'll change the way you sleep forever. Because right now at Rooms To Go, our free adjustable base upgrade is back and better than ever. Choose your mattress set in your perfect size from great brands starting at $6.99. That's queen, king, even a split king. Then upgrade to this advanced adjustable base for free. With wireless remote, adjustable legs, even this built-in flashlight. Smart bed, smart buy. During Mattress Month at Rooms To Go.
At FPL, we're working every single day to ensure Southeast Florida has reliable electricity while keeping bills as low as possible. FPL, working for you every single day.
I'm Jill Hazu.
And I'm Erin Burns.
We invite you to join us this Sunday for Total Retirement with Ernie Burns, where we'll discuss wealth management, estate planning, and more.
Ernie was named 2022's Forbes Best In-State Security Professional. You don't want to miss it.
Everyone knows Stanley Steamer is the one to call for professional cleaning. But did you also know we're the ones to call in a water emergency? With a fleet of over 3,000 vans, we get there fast, 24/7. Our certified technicians remove the water you can see and the water you can't. They thoroughly test every area and document it all for your insurance company. We hope this never happens to you, but if it does, call 1-800-STEAMER.
Call 1-800-STEAMER. Stanley Steamer gets your home cleaner.
Steinger, Green, and Finer.
Steinger, Green, and Finer got me a settlement which was completely life-changing and one of the biggest blessings I could ever wish for.
Call Steinger, Green, and Finer. 1-800-561-1111.
Thank you again for making us part of your morning. As always, we encourage you to be part of our discussion each and every Sunday right here at 10 a.m. Until then, you can watch This Morning's On the Record and every episode on our website, WPBF.com, and on our free WPBF 25 News app. Matter of Fact with Soda and O'Brien is next. Hope you have a great holiday. We'll see you again next Sunday.